Oh, thanks.
Welcome to Seddon. Seddon is an inner suburb 7 km west of Melbourne CBD. It's lying south of Footscray and north of Yarraville. Population is 5,123 as of the 2016 census. Postcode is 3011. Area is 1 square kilometers, which is very small compared to other suburbs. City of Maribyrnong is the local government. And about the name Seddon, this is what Google said.
Here's a summary from the website en.wikipedia.org. Seddon was officially declared a suburb in 1906, named after Richard Seddon, the New Zealand Prime Minister from 1893 to 1906.
Seddon was once considered part of Footscray and was described as Footscray South, Victoria. There used to be a tram line on Charles and Gamon Streets, but it has been replaced with central garden beds and tree plantings. Every year there's a Seddon festival where they close the main streets in the village to vehicles just for the exclusive pedestrian access. There's also the Seddon Makers Market, which operates throughout the year on the grounds of Seddon Uniting Church on Gamon Street. There are good cafes in Seddon, like Common Galaxia, Seddon Deadly Sins, Little Man Cafe, and EST 1906, so established 1906, basically based on the fact that the Seddon was established in 1906. Seddon also has its own cricket club and also shares a football team with Yarraville using Australian rules. Seddon House is composed predominantly of single-storey Victorian workers' cottages and Edwardian terrace houses with some larger double-storey early 20th century buildings. Although Seddon is a small suburb, there are many small gardens, parks and playgrounds scattered throughout the suburb. Seddon has its own railway station on the Werribee and Williamstown railway lines, but it's also close to the Middle Footscray station. Now with some stats. The male to female ratio is 49.8% to 50.2%. The median age is 35. Families 1,339. The average children per family with children 1.6 and all families 0.6. Private dwellings 2,355. The average people per household is 2.4. The median weekly household income is 2,006. The median monthly mortgage repayments is 2,167. The median weekly rent 380, and the average motor vehicles per dwelling is 1.3. In terms of registered marital status, married is 38.5% compared to 48.4% in Victoria and 48.1% in Australia. Never married, 49.1% compared to 35.5% in Victoria and 35% in Australia. So almost half of the population were never married. In terms of the highest level of education, the population is actually quite educated. Bachelor degree level and above, 43.7% compared to 24.3% in Victoria and 22% in Australia. Ancestry, top 3 are English, 22.7%, Australian, 18.5%, and Irish, 10.7%. Most are born in Australia, which is 65.2% compared to 64.9% in Victoria and 66.7% in Australia. The other top responses are Vietnam 4.4%, England 3%, and New Zealand 2.9%. Country of birth of parents, so both parents born overseas 38.8% compared to both parents born in Australia of 40.8%. Religion is not really important in this area, so no religion described 50.3% compared to 31.7% in Victoria and 29.6% in Australia. Catholic 16.4% compared to 23.2% in Victoria and 22.6% in Australia. Because majority of the people are born in Australia, the English that's spoken at home is 69.8% compared to 67.9% in Victoria and 72.7% in Australia. The other languages are Vietnamese, which is 5.7%, and Greek, 2.5%. Employment, so those who work full-time, 62.5% compared to 57% in Victoria and 57.7% in Australia. Working part-time, 27.1% compared to 31.4% in Victoria and 30.4% in Australia. Unemployed is below average, which is good, 5.7% compared to 6.6% in Victoria and 6.9% in Australia. The employment hours worked, I can see that the 1 to 15 hours per week is only 8.7% compared to 12% in Victoria and 11.4% in Australia. The 40 hours per week or more is 47.3% compared to 42.4% in Victoria and 43% in Australia. Now if you look at the occupation, professionals 37.6% compared to 23.3% in Victoria and 22.2% in Australia. Managers 15.9% and 13.5% in Victoria and 13% in Australia. So you can probably make an approximate correlation between employment hours worked, because most managers and professionals work more than 40 hours a week. That's why you can make that approximate correlation. Now, median weekly incomes are more than average. So personal, 936 compared to Victorian average of 644 and Australian average of 662. Family income, 2,446 compared to Victorian average of 1,715 and Australian average of 1,734. Household income, 2006 compared to Victoria 1,419 and Australia 1,438. Now travel to work. Because Seddon is very close to the city, more people are catching the train than the average in Victoria and Australia. So train 24.2% compared to 5.8% in Victoria and 4.6% in Australia. People who travel to work by car as a passenger or driver, 46.1% compared to 68.3% in Victoria and 68.4% in Australia. Family composition, couple family without children, 40.6% compared to 36.5% in Victoria and 37.8% in Australia. Couple family with children, 45.3% compared to 46.3% in Victoria and 44.7% in Australia. Now in terms of employment status of parents, so both employed working full-time, 33.3% compared to one employed full-time and one part-time, 24.8%, both not working, 10.5%. So most people here work full-time and both of the parents in a family actually working full-time. Now, dwelling structure. Separate house, 64.5%. Flat or apartment, 18.3%. So most houses here are separate houses rather than flats or apartments. Most dwellings here have 3 bedrooms, 41.5%, compared to 2 bedrooms, 39.1%. Most people here rent. So people who rent, 40.4% compared to 28.7% in Victoria and 30.9% in Australia. Those who own the places outright, 22% compared to 32.3% in Victoria and 31% in Australia. Those who own with a mortgage, 35.2% compared to Victorian average of 35.3% and Australian average of 34.5%. Now the weekly rent here is a bit expensive compared to the average. The rent is $380 per week compared to Victorian average of $325 and Australian average of $335. The monthly mortgage repayment is $2,167 compared to $1,728 in Victoria and $1,755 in Australia. Average number of people per household, 2.5 compared to 3 in Victoria and 3.2 in Australia. That's it for Seddon, guys. Enjoy the rest of the video, and you can also follow me on Instagram at the Australian Suburbs.